everyone. Welcome to a wee episode of Dim in the Light. This is episode 9. And yeah, nice. I haven't been for a while. I do apologise. Took a month out basically. But I'm back now because a few people have, been kind of prodding my side flab, going, "Oi, where are these dim the lights?" So, yeah, to be honest, March was a weird month, man. I finished the medical study thing, and which basically meant I was allowed to drink alcohol again. And, I can't sugarcoat it, guys. I genuinely can't sugarcoat it. The booze made me less productive. I just couldn't really, I bathed in all its glory and everything that alcohol has to offer. It sounds very sad because essentially it kind of is. But I think I got, maybe like halfway through like week 2 of March, or maybe into like week 3, and I just threw all caution to the windows. Like, this is it, man. Like, I'm just throwing all caution to, I'm not going to eat healthy, I'm not going to do any fitness, I'm not going to write, I'm not going to do any podcasts or filming or editing. I'm just going to go see people and have a good time. And that's essentially what I did. But I also was like very uninspired in March. Nothing that I'd done, nothing that I read, nothing that I watched, nothing that I thought was very inspiring. So I never really had anything to talk about that was interesting, So, but I had fun. Don't get me wrong. I had fun. There was no real kind of low moments. There was one or two, but that's just fueled by the debauch. But it is what it is. We're here now. I gave myself all of April, all of May to get my shit together. Ease off on the drinking, eat healthy, get fit. Right. That's literally the 4 things that I run my schedule for April and May. It's like the 8th of April now, maybe the 7th, I don't even know. I'm not done any fitness yet. I've not done any. All right, I get it. I get it. I hear you. I'm easing up to it. I've laid off the booze a little bit. I've been writing, but my God, guys, it's difficult. It's just really, really, really difficult. So boohoo me. That is what I'm. The worst thing to try and do is sit at a piece of paper, blank piece of paper, and just think of things that inspire you when nothing inspires you. And I get it. I think March was kind of rough for everyone because we were essentially told, "Hey, look, here's a year. Just behave yourself for a year. Don't do anything. Don't go out. Just, be inside and be with your bubble of people." And then, like, come March, they just tagged on another 6 months at the end of it, and you're like, come on. So I think a lot of people just went, nah, I'm not really digging this. And I think I'm starting, I'm sure other people might relate to this, starting to just feel really anxious about things that didn't really make me that anxious before. Holding a conversation with some people is way more difficult than it used to be. To the extent, by the way, there's some autistic behaviour happening, man. There's some weird, like, I'm saying strange things in strange conversations, like trying to be funny or trying to be witty or trying to be silly or just trying to be Davis, like a bit jovial, and people are just kind of looking at me like, what are you talking about, man? Where did that come from? That was a pure curveball in the conversation, and now you've made it weird and awkward. And I'm noticing that I'm doing that. I think it's a combination of me just, not being socially aware, and other people also kind of just finding their groove within like small talk conversations. You know that way where sometimes you just wake up the next day and you go, or you walk away from a conversation and you go, what the hell did I just say that? What was I talking about? Why did I just say that? And thinking about things that don't need that much thought put into them. I was really needing to get out of the house last week. I'm actually was actually really feeling a need to do that today as well, but I decided to do this instead. If you're watching this on YouTube, what you're seeing right now, I'm looking out the window, looking at this big grey, kind of low cast day. To be honest, pretty much, it's my kind of favourite weather for the most part. But I don't really want to go outside because it's all so cold and horrible and it's colder than it actually looks outside, man. We're getting like a set whatever. What am I talking about? I was going to go out and now I'm doing this. But what I done last week was, I'm quite spontaneous sometimes if I want to just go out and meet people, and because we're in this kind of new generation, this new culture of, Telegram, WhatsApp, Messenger, everyone's like immediately available. So I've kind of lost my rhythm for just like sending out a text to someone and going, here man, do you want to meet? And if they don't get back to me for a while, then, that's a normal thing. But I was basically texted someone. If they don't write back within 10 minutes, I text someone else. If they don't write back within 10 minutes, I write someone else, hey, what are you up to? And I find myself in one part of the city. And this is kind of interesting because, listen, man, we all do it. We've got categories of friends that we want to hang out with more than others. Simple as that. So, or the people that spring to mind first are the people that you genuinely probably more likely want to see for a bunch of different reasons. You like them more. Hey, I said it. Or you haven't seen them in a while and you go, you know what? I'm at a wee stage in my day where I really need to get out. I really want to see people. We've been meaning to see each other for a while. I'm going to go talk to them. So you send them a text. They don't get back to you. You go down the ladder. Stage number 2, you text them. They don't get back. Stage number 3, you text them. They don't get back. Stage number 4, they're still your pals and shit. I'm not being that much of a dick. But then they text you and you go, great, let's meet down by the canal and do something. So you meet and you have a drink or whatever, and the conversation's flowing and you're happy to be out, they're happy to be out, you're happy to see each other, you start hanging out. And then fellow number 1 texts you, hey, how you doing? What you up to? I'm not doing anything, just chilling in my house. Why don't you come by? And this sent me off on a tangent of anxiety. And I was like, what did I say? I was like, no, I've found other friends better than you. I can't. I didn't know what to say. I got myself in the right pickle. So you have to ignore the text and then write the next day, hey man, sorry, I've kind of found myself out and about. You didn't text back within like 2 hours, which is totally fine, by the way. I just found myself outside, walking by the canal, bumped into some people, hung around with them instead, and they go, oh, that's totally fine. That sounds great. So no real drama, no real anxiety needed. Just happened, and I think that's some of the social cues that we're struggling to deal with, quite frankly, these days. One glorious thing did happen to me though last week. It's not the case now because things are changing so quickly, but the art galleries were open here. All you had to do was make an appointment online. You would get allocated a time slot. You could go there, look at some art, boom, done deal. Now you need like negative tests and all that kind of stuff, right? So me and my lady friend, me and Gemma go up to the gallery, man. And let me tell you something, it was absolutely, like, honestly, man, mind changing, right? It literally changed my mind. We went in there. The art was all right. It was so right. It wasn't. That in itself wasn't mind blowing. What was mind changing was going into a space that was dedicated to influencing your thought process and the different ways in which your mind works. What a wonderful thing to have in life, right? Talk about not being inspired. This day was the most inspirational day of the whole month, right? And it was just the fact that we were sitting there discussing what we think the art means, what we think is supposed to be interpreted, what's represented. What is the artist trying to illustrate here with what they're painting or the sculpture that they've made or whatever it was? It was honestly absolutely amazing. One side note, I've never experienced this before, but the downside, the only downside of the art gallery was that they had the prices at the side of the art. And that was totally crap, man, because you know your thought process, your kind of peripherals, your eyes were kind of always constantly drawn to how much it was worth, and that gave it this horrible kind of financial monetary value instead of, you know, you getting lost in what it all means and stuff. So that was wonderful. We came out of that, and it kind of just, I think because I hadn't experienced it for so long that, oh man, I miss it. I miss art and culture, and it really just opened my mind for the rest of the day. I was walking about the city of Berlin and looking at things in a way that I hadn't looked at for months and months and months and months. And it was so beautiful. And it's going to get cheesier, guys. It's going to get cheesier. Don't worry, none of us get down on one knee and propose to each other, right? But man, that would have been the day to do it, though, I tell you that much. So we're going around the city and we're just starting to feel like how everything looked like a movie set. Everything just looked as if it had just been built, as if there was like fresh licks of paint coated on everything, as if every nook and cranny. We were on the bikes, and every little street we went down, it could have been something else. It could have been a whole other world. At some points we felt that we were in Eastern Europe. Some points we felt that we were in Russia. Which isn't really that hard to believe considering here in Berlin there is Russian influence. But we felt as if we were, so at one point we felt as if we were in Italy. And then we found ourselves on among the opera houses and some of the concert halls, right, which are located in a more affluent area of Berlin. Amazing, huge architectural wonders, domes, and, you know, massive stairs leading up to entrances and huge columns, and the ground is all cobbles, and there's Latin written in gold below the domes on the roofs. And it was that alone, it was amazing. And then we heard some opera coming from the opera concert hall, right? And it was just these two opera singers, a man and a woman, who had just decided to impromptu put on a little show outside, no microphones, just them in like dapper gear. She was in this beautiful red frock, and he was like dressed up with braces. I think he had braces on, and anyway, it looked as if you were at the opera, right? All suited up and stuff, and they were belting across this square opera. They had a little kind of wireless speaker belting out some opera tunes, classical music. I don't know, guys. I've never been in the opera. I don't know what the hell it is. So we are drawn to this one absolutely breathtaking performance And we're walking all along this square and we feel like we're in Spain or Italy or Czech Republic, and we're surrounded by these buildings on the cobbled streets, and we just sit ourselves down, and I'm going to say it, man, we both teared up. It was, and I don't use these terms lightly, the most beautiful and magical thing that I've experienced in a year. It was so amazing that these two people were belting out their voices and playing these characters and telling this story just through singing, just through voice, with their actions touching each other, kind of using the space, so running up and down the stairs and like kind of hanging on to columns and leaning out from the columns and belting out over the whole square. And they got like an audience. They were fucking buskers, man. They were keeping the dream alive. They got an audience of, I don't know, maybe 50 people. And the reason we were so kind of like happy, it kind of drove us to tears, is just because we both are big into like live stuff. And obviously I do a lot of live, and it really hit some proper chords with me, man. And it really just like sent my heart blubbering away, because I was like, this is what it's about. This is the definitive reason why one performs live. If you could have felt what it's like, right? It's not about podcasts. It's not about sitting in front of Spotify. It's not about sitting on YouTube. It's not about making cocktail videos. It's not about fucking buying lights and talking into like little microphones in your gaff, looking out a window. I get it, guys. I don't mind it. I like it. I don't mind it. I don't hate it. But live is something different. There's an energy. There's a feel of the microphone, the buzz of the speakers, the clinking of glasses, the murmur of chatter, the music that's on before a show. When the lights go out, do you understand, man? The feeling of that palpable, tangible energy that when the lights go down for a show to start and the murmur just like it dies down into a silence of expectation, and that expectation is you. It's honestly the most electric feeling that you can have. I'm even feeling it now just talking about it. It is why people perform live. It's that feeling. It's addictive. It's so... Sorry, I can't explain the words. My diction is shite lately. It was amazing, and it just made me realise how much we need live stuff. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's comedy, or even if you're looking at one of a cocktail workshop, opera, theatre, dance, ballet, music, orchestra, a live band, whatever it is, a play. For goodness sake, plays. How amazing are they? There's just the atmosphere that is created through something live is, for me, the most amazing thing. And it is what drives me to do it more. I'm not driven by the stuff that I'm doing just now. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm doing it. And I don't mean that to sound unappreciative in any way, form or fashion. I really don't. I love it that people listen to this. I love it that people watch my little videos. I love it that I've got 100 odd subscribers on YouTube. I love it. But it's not live. And I'm missing it so much. And I need it in my life, man. And it made me so sad, but equally happy when I saw those two on those stairs belting out with all their heart, man. Because that's what it was. They weren't doing it for money. They weren't doing it for recognition. They were doing it for the love of their art. And that resonated, man, in the most powerful way. Not gonna lie, man, I've got a lump in my throat talking about it. How much that means, that seeing that and being a part of that and witnessing that and experiencing it, how much that meant to me, because I miss doing live stuff so much. Mental. Mental. So McDonald's has changed, man, in the old Corona times. Whew. Jeez, oh. Segue. Yeah, man, McDonald's has changed. McDonald's is interesting Corona times. Like, I love a McDonald's. I'm not gonna lie. I adore McDonald's. I have to fight with my inner conscience to take me away from McDonald's every time I pass one. Always go in there for a cheeky cheeseburger. You know what I mean? What's the harm? You know? I know it's immoral. I know it's unethical. Is it even real food? No one knows. It's expensive. It's evil. But you know what? It's kind of why I like it. It's kind of why I like it. And one of the good, one of the good things about, well, for me, see when you're with you, see if you're just kind of getting to know someone, right? Like a lady friend or a boyfriend. That doesn't a gentleman friend, a lady friend or a gentleman friend. And you're both walking down the street and you're passing by McDonald's, and one of them goes, "Should we go to McDonald's?" And the other one goes, "Absolutely yes." You're on to a winner, man. You're on to a winner. That is a keeper right there. If you walk by a McDonald's with your gentleman friend and you go, "Here, man, fancy a wee cheeky cheeseburger," and they go like that, are you ridiculous? No, why would I ever want to go into that horrible place? Bye. See you later, gentleman friend. And console yourself with 9 chicken nuggets and a wee curry sauce. But the Corona, and by the way, I'd happily go in and sit with a Big Mac meal, man, inside a McDonald's and watch the world go by. No shame in it whatsoever, man. Absolutely zero shame. But in the Corona times, everything's cordoned off. It looks like a CSI crime scene. And you walk in there and you're like that, "Look, can I just have a cheeseburger, please?" And they're like, "Great." And then there's always more, because the idea of getting a cheeseburger is, well, one, you want a quick in and out of that place, right? You don't want to be sitting around waiting for fucking cheeseburgers, but you get there, you order a cheeseburger, you look at the big metal chute behind them, there's no cheeseburgers, so you know you're going to have to wait. So it's not like pre-Corona times, man. In Corona times, you're sent off to a wee cordoned off corner with other people, which consists of 3 Lieferando guys and like 3 or 4 just regular patrons of the world. And you're not all in it together, because the Lieferando guys, they're looking at you, judging you like that. "Look at you in here on a Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Look at you, going about your business eating a cheeseburger. You're filth, you're filth." And then you're like, "Wait a minute, man. You know, someone else's filth and shame is hiding behind the guise of Lieferando. At least I've got the audacity to come in here myself and get my cheeseburger. I don't have to hide behind some big orange suit with a square bag on his back in a vain attempt to keep that McDonald's warm." Is it? No chance is that keeping that warm. And that's kind of why I like to go into McDonald's a lot of the time. I'm not one of these people that get a McDonald's and then like go on a 40-minute train ride and eat it when they're home. Who are those people, man? Who are those people? That is filth bags. If you're one of those people, sort it out. How can you just go home after 40 minutes of having like a McDonald's on your lap on the way home in a train or in a car and then just eat it stone cold? So, and then, you know, the only solidarity that you've got in the kind of the dunce corner, the corner of shame, the corner of naughtiness, is your other little 3 patrons who are there, and you're like, "All right, guys, are we in this together, man?" And they've got masks on, you don't know who they are, they're looking at their phone in shame, scrolling through Facebook endlessly so that you don't make eye contact, because it's the only contact that's left in COVID times. And it's all down to the order, really, isn't it? It's all down to the order. Will determine on how much shame one has. A cheeseburger, that's unshameful, man. That's easy. A quick cheeseburger out and about. Hey, come on, you're filling a gap. It's quick, it's cheap, let's do this, come on. But if you're getting shouted from behind the counter for 2 Big Mac meals, an apple pie, some nuggets, and a milkshake, oh, the eyes of judgment are strong. And what you doing with that, man? You're heading up the road? Because I can't. I need to eat it, man. I need to I need to eat it right away. I'm not gonna get a Big Mac meal. I'm supposed to eat it outside in 5-degree temperature. It's not going to happen. I felt as if there was so much shame in that room when I wanted just a cheeseburger. I was like, next time I'm going to get a car share. I'm going to get a drive now just for 20 minutes and go to a drive-through to avoid all this embarrassment. So just before I go, someone asked me the other day, what's my best feature? And I found it quite difficult to answer because I automatically wanted to think about my worst features. You know, what don't you like about yourself is much easier to answer than, you know, what do you like about yourself? And I found it quite an enlightening question to be asked. And I wasn't sure about it. And then I stuck with it. And I'll kind of share with you what it was. And I said, look, it took me on a path and it kind of cleared a few wee things up in my head, man. So basically, the reason I'm talking about this is because I'd kind of like you to do the same. So I said, you know, I think that one of my strengths, or there's 2 things that I kind of like about myself. One is that I think that I'm quite like modest and humble, and it doesn't feel very modest or humble saying that. But that's kind of how I feel sometimes. I don't let things get to my head very quickly. And if I do feel that something's getting to my head, then I definitely like hit it on the head and kind of subdue that feeling. And the second one was I always try my best to work on things that I don't like about myself, or realize that something about me exists that I don't like, and try and hit that on the head every time it rears its ugly head. Using the word head a lot here, sorry. When I was growing up, there was, you know, I was exposed to a little bit of like self-deprecation. Sometimes, you know, through the different, you know, parental figures that I had, from time to time, there would be instances of like where, you know, the world was against that one person, and there was always kind of outbursts of like, oh, this only ever happens to me, or the whole world is against me. And I always kind of loathed this in a way, probably because I never really understood it back then. But the older that I got, I learned that I carried some of that with me. And there's like zero resentment held, by the way. This is just someone having a bad day, and this is how they deal with it. It's just that when you're a young sponge, you know, you're obviously soaking it all up, and it kind of surprises you when you're 25 years old and you find yourself fucking shouting at the sky going, why does this only happen to me? And, you know, you kind of have to like check yourself and have to go, right, no, that's not how it works, right? So that's one thing that I do, that I kind of catch before I get into that kind of state of affairs of being like, oh, like the world is against me. The second one is, and this is very interesting because I got into a whole other conversation with someone else about this, separate to this question being asked of me, and it was like, how I talk to myself when these things do rear their ugly head. So, for example, I don't want to be self-deprecative. If I do find myself being self-deprecative, I nip it in the bud and I go, why the fuck are you being self-deprecative? Fucking get yourself together, you idiot. You piece of shit. Come on, man. Get it together. Why are you feeling like this? And I was explaining this to a friend, and they were absolutely taken aback that is how I talk to myself about these things. And don't get me wrong, man, I'm not that much of a weirdo. I know that might come across as quite kind of abruptly violent and unfair. And I know that might maybe catch some people off guard. But it doesn't with me. I've been talking to myself like that for a very, very long time. And I didn't really think it had that much of an effect on me. Don't get me wrong, it's not my go-to, the way I talk to myself. It's not something that I condone, really. But it's also not something I've ever kind of went, man, I really hate it when you talk to yourself like that. So it was a very interesting conversation. And then they said to me, look, man, if you talk to yourself like that, like, how do you view yourself? How do you see yourself? How can you get away with talking to yourself like that? How, in what other ways do you see the other things that you do in such a negative kind of, I don't want to say that, I don't want to use the word violence, it's not, but I think you get what I mean. And I was thinking about it, and I also grew up in a situation where I was exposed by, my dad with like huge anger issues, very, very, very bad temper. Now, I am so goddamn thankful that I don't have that. I done a lot of work on myself, late teens, early 20s, not to be that person, right? If I'm being truthfully honest with you guys, because, you guys are my people, I'll destroy a kitchen from time to time. Once every 2 years, once every 3 years, I'll just get so angry, I'll just destroy a room. And, I'm not going to lie, I can advise it. It helps, but no one else is going to be around to see it. But basically, what would happen is my dad would get so angry, and this is where the humour bit comes in, so you can relieve yourselves a little bit. Your little arseholes can loosen up. He would lose the absolute rag at inanimate objects. And I found this hilarious, man. Right? My dad would be trying to fix the sink, and something wouldn't go right for him. He'd lose his temper. A man with zero patience whatsoever, not just a little bit, but zero patience whatsoever, and he'd be fucking swearing at this thing. You bastard, I'm going to rip you out, and I'm going to throw you in I'm going to take a match to you, and And I was like, dude, you're talking to a piece of pipe, man. I was like, what are you doing? I'm 7 years old. I'm not saying anything, man. But this is my inner monologue. Like, absolutely pissing itself with laughter. And one time, I remember specifically, the car broke down in Falkirk after a trip to the Mariner Centre, which is a swimming pool. And they were at the garage, whatever he's fanning about with engine, and then it doesn't start. His fault. He shouldn't have been fanning about with an engine in the first place. And I'm no joking, man. The level of temper and the level of anger that he had, he's in the courtyard. He's in the courtyard of the garage, kicking the car, slamming the bonnet down, punching windies, shouting at it, talking to it, saying, I'm going to fucking take a match to you. I'm going to put you in the scrapyard tomorrow. Man, I had to stifle my laugh so hard in the back seat, man. I found it hilarious, right? But what I've done is I have unfortunately taken that, right? That level, that way of talking to something, to kind of essentially, what that's doing is you're essentially trying to calm yourself down. You're trying to take the blame away from yourself and put it onto this inanimate object, which you're never ever going to get any feedback from. And what I've done is kind of something maybe a wee bit worse. I've inverted that in some sort of weird U-turn, and I'm taking it all back on myself, and I'm talking to myself like that. And the only saving grace really is that I'm a self-reflective person. A piece of pipe or a car is not. So I can deal with it. And that's kind of what I'm dealing with at the moment. After being asked that question, what do you like about yourself? And I guess that was a long-winded way of just saying that, I like to think that I'm a self-reflective person. And by the way, just for the record, I'm not constantly saying to myself every hour of the day, I'm a piece of shit. No, not at all. Just when things get a little bit heavy in life every couple of months, or you drop something that you're not supposed to, or you drop you're putting something in the fridge and you drop the berries and the berries fucking slide all under the fridge. And you kind of tut yourself and you go, oh, you idiot. Oh, sake. It's all your fault. It's just some berries that have slipped and went under the fridge. Relax. But maybe I should start talking to the berries. Maybe I should start talking to the berries. So on that note, I'm going to leave you. Do that if you don't mind. Anyone listening to this, just for your mental health, just for your own general self-reflection, right? Ask yourself, what do you like about yourself? Or better still, ask someone else and then get them to ask you that question. Because it's much easier when it works that way. You just feel like an idiot when you ask yourself. You feel like a narcissist, an egocentric. So yeah, do that and see what they say, and see what comes out, and it might just kind of, if anything, man, it will take you out of this mundane grey sky, no live performance, no hugging, no handshakes, weird time that we're living in. Guys, as always, thank you for listening. If you're feeling down, make a soup. That's what I do, and it works all the time. Until next time, bye-bye.